Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair ragale, ni hao. Tune shumme, washmale, ohaya ganzaimes, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shama chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, kaifa haluka, khuya morkhe, buna. Ladies and gentlemen, an amazing welcome to World This Morning. You guys are definitely tuned into PT World. And with me, I have the very amazing, the very talented Shiza Hashmi, and my name is Shazad Khan. Hello, Shiza. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Absolutely perfect. The weather outside is amazing.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. It's a beautiful, beautiful rainy morning, and it's a Thursday morning. We are my favorite part of the week. Almost, you guys, we're almost there with the weekend. And by the way, since it's raining a lot, please take care. As we always say, a lot of people were literally slipping off their bikes in front of me today, and the umbrellas were flying away. So please take care. Carry an umbrella with you if you're going out. Carry a raincoat if you're on a bike, and take care of yourself and others around you.
Amazing. And since you mentioned the weekend as well, but for you it's not even a weekend, because your weekends you're working, you have to come to the studios, and there are other jobs you have to do as well.
But that's true. But the thing is, the jobs that I do on the weekend is actually what I like doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's like.
So are you trying to say that you don't like doing this?
I do, but that's something I actually really enjoy doing. That's like my favorite part of the week.
Okay, that's good. But other than that, since you said that this is your favorite day as well, because of the fact that tomorrow is going to be Friday, it's going to be weekend. So I have labeled Thursday as Friday Junior.
I know, makes sense. Makes sense.
That's how it is, and it's a filter on Snapchat too as well. But ladies and gentlemen, the conversation is going to go on right now. Let's take a look at what's happening all over the globe. Top stories coming up. Good morning.
Let's take a look.
Woohoo.
The U.S. statement on IMF bailout package is inappropriate. The caretaker foreign minister, Abdullah Hussain Haroon, says China is Pakistan's trusted friend and CPEC is important for Pakistan's development and prosperity.
And Corps Commanders Conference reviews geostrategic environment, regional peace and internal security situation of the country. I hope everything's under control.
And, well, British High Commissioner Thomas Drew visits Baningala and felicitates Imran Khan on the election win.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, these were three different top stories as well, but the show or the topic which we have picked up on today is very different too as well.
It's interesting because I don't think we've done this before on the show.
Yeah, we have never ever done it. This is for the very first time, and yesterday when I was preparing for the show, ladies and gentlemen, the only thing I was thinking was that, if we have to talk about this topic, we definitely have to talk about whether the parents of today are failing in nurturing and rearing their kids, because that's why these people might have come up with the idea where we are talking about child care coaching. And the idea is very different, but when we were in discussion prior to the show as well, I thought that this might be necessary in days to come. For example, if we talk about women equality, if we talk about inclusivity, if the man goes out to earn the bread, in this day and age, the woman actually has to step outside too as well. Because if we have a comparison of the population, I think the global population of women is more than men too as well. So I think in days, these kind of services will be important, but are they? What are these services? This is something which we are going to talk about.
No, but this makes me actually question you, since you are a parent yourself, mashallah. So are you, personally speaking, are you really open to the idea of trusting someone and sending your kid to probably a daycare, or you yourself going to, get trained of how to deal with your kid or how to be a good parent?
Well, I know.
Are you open to the idea?
I know it's a difficult question, but for me, alhamdulillah, I belong to a privileged background where the women of the house, nobody's stopping them, but they really do not have to go outside to earn bread or to do anything. Or probably, if the women want to do something, they can, but then at the same time, we require them to be at home and look after the kids, and that is the only reason why they really do not have to step outside. Not that we stop them. So I'm not really open to the idea. I'm not even open to the idea that the kids actually should be allowed to go with the driver to get probably fast food, because that's what they demand most of the time. Oh, we need to go have an ice cream, we need to do this, we need to do that. And parents at times, since they are a bit slow or probably lazy when they get back home, so they're really not of the idea that we should go outside, or probably they'll keep this idea for weekends. But other than that, what I was trying to think was that, ladies and gentlemen, this childcare coaching is not just about you know, your kid. It's about all those women who are so anxious, who get worried about, for example, while they're pregnant, they do not know how to handle the kid. And I'll take you to UK where, you know, once you're about to be a mother, they'll actually train you how to look after the baby, because, you know, at times it gets so difficult.
It does, of
you know,
course.
they
For young mothers especially.
Yeah, the kids, you know, you know, those newly born kids, they just stuck their, I don't know, breath, and what happens, whether they get colic, and, you know, with the feeder, the air goes in, and once they stop breathing, you're like, what do I do?
Oh, God.
So I think
That
these
must
are
be
the
so-
issues they're
yeah,
catering
yeah.
to.
Okay, perfect. So, but you know, I totally agree with whatever you said. But my idea, when you say, you know, childcare coaching, and when you say centers for kids,
Yes.
my idea of it is that parents and kids are equally involved in it. It's, since you've been saying women a lot,
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's only for mothers. I feel
Yes.
like, you know, it's for both of the parents, because you are equally, you know, equally parent
That's
to
what
your
I
kid
said.
as
If
your
somebody,
mother.
if the woman has to work and she has to leave the house,
yeah.
she'll
No,
have to do
I
that.
totally agree
I
with
do
that.
not want to be an scapegoat today. All right, I'm in it with you guys. So on my right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by somebody who's an educationist. She's an early care consultant as well. She's none other than Miss Humaira Waqar. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. And
Thank-
as you said that the weather is amazing outside. So
It is indeed.
it has a
Thank you
good
very much
effect
for
as well.
joining
It
us.
does.
And alongside Ms. Humaira Waqar, this lady, ladies and gentlemen, you might have seen her on the show before too as well, but today she's in a different position. She's a childcare coach and educationist. She's none other than Ms. Shafia Rafiq. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum assalam, Shahzad. How you doing?
Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much for joining us. And last but not the least, she's an educationist, and she's none other than Miss Khatija Khan. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. How are you?
Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much. But you need to wake up. Come on.
Yeah, I
Alaikum
know.
assalam.
More
You know,
energy.
yeah, it needs a lot of energy to wake
Yeah.
people up. And when this is the kind of response you get, Walaikum assalam, how are you? You're like, okay, really? I need to put in
No,
more
I'll be
energy.
fine.
So, Shiza, I'll let you lead the show today.
Okay, so for the people who don't understand, I have to agree, including me, since I'm not a parent yet, but I do have a niece, so I'm like very much engaged with kids, that's true.
Mashallah, that's good.
But, you know, it's since last night, I was actually wondering and Googling what, you know,
Childcare
childcare
coaching
coaching is. Exactly. So for people who don't understand, can you please, in lighter terms, explain it to them?
Shiza, it's very simple. See, if you are planning even a dinner at your home, so you just do some prerequisite for that, making a list, going for the grocery. And when you are having a baby and you are just transferring a role from a single to then married and then a parent, then that is the most important thing that you need to know, that what would be what would you need in handling the baby.
Okay.
And definitely there are some effects on your physical, in your mental state as well. So you are actually transforming or taking a transition from one paradigm to another paradigm.
Okay.
And how can you just go and randomly jump into it?
Right,
So
right.
this is, I think, the most simple thing, that you just go and get prepared yourself that, okay, the new responsibility for that, taking that responsibility, what are the prerequisites?
Okay, I get that, but coming to you, Ms. Shafia, at this point in time, you know, this is actually a lot of people are coming up with the idea, and they're open to the idea, the parents are accepting. But do you think this was not important few years back? Like there was no need for this probably a few years back?
If I honestly tell you, yes, definitely it was needed, but since the women, they're out of house for the job and all that, since I run a daycare center, and it's been 8 years, and I just watch parents, how they behave with their children, how they act with their children, and how they want to, out of necessity sometimes, and out of sometimes for early learning, they leave their kids into the daycare center. But what I believe is the daycare center is the need of today, and they should be leaving their kids in daycare centers for early learning things, because most of the parents, when they're new parents, they really don't understand how to deal with the kids. As for example, many of the parents come to me, and if it's a first child, it's experience for them also. Doesn't matter what profession they belong to, actually they are very much concerned, and sometimes they don't even get the answers from Google. They need some expert to be guiding them.
Someone who's experienced probably.
Experienced and who are guiding them, and they know the day-to-day practices. Since we are doing those day-to-day practices in our daycare center, and we come to an idea and we have a better understanding what happens, and we have that kind of experience, so we try to give them that kind of things and idea and experience, so they can learn from our ideas, they can learn from our things, and practice well being a parent, being a mother.
Okay, that's great. We'll definitely come back to that. But other than that, Ms. Khatija, I'm going to move on to you. Since you're an educationist yourself, over here within Pakistan, we do have this kind of mindset where, you know, the dadis and the nannies or the dadas or the nanas are actually going to scold their kids for a particular reason, that is, oh, you know, why were you, you know, you shouldn't have actually put your kid into the school at this early age. How do you think that are you going to defend that first of all, or you're not going to defend it, or do you think that the kid should actually go to school at 5 years of age, which is very important?
Okay, thank you very much, and I'm grateful that you guys invited me to this show.
It's our pleasure.
As I earlier mentioned that I will be talking about early childhood development.
Yes.
And early childhood development doesn't start when the kid is age 5 or age 6. It basically starts in the womb of the mother.
Okay.
So not only the mother, the whole family, since we are living in a joint family system in Pakistan, so not only we tell them in our parental education, we tell the whole family that it's not only the mother who is pregnant, it's basically the whole family. So we try to educate the whole family about their responsibilities, because the father is equally important, and the grandparents and other family members who are living in the same house are equally important.
Yes,
so we have to really educate the whole family to bring the child to this world. You mentioned that whether a child should go to school at the age of 5.
Yeah.
I think here school is not important, because the home is actually the first school of the child, and the mother's womb is basically the first school of the child. So the mother and both the parents should be properly educated to bring the child to the world, and they should be really knowing that the child's brain basically develops in the first 1,000 days.
Okay.
The brain developments at 98% in the first 1,000 days of every human being's life. So my role, well, I have been working on this early childhood development for the last many years.
So for first 3 years, you know,
First 3 years are very critical, and early childhood is not all about education. You have to be mindful of the child's overall developmental aspects, which is cognitive development, physical development, language development, and all the other areas which Humaira just mentioned. The whole family members have to be really mindful of all these important developmental aspects.
I agree with you, and please, since we are already talking about
she
that.
agrees so much.
No, since we're already talking about that, I actually felt like I was going to ask this question later on, but I have to now. So I was talking to my sister last night, and she has a baby who is about to turn 3 years in a few months, and she is the most aggressive and stubborn baby that I've ever seen, but I love her, of course. Point being, so she was asking me, and I am asking you because I'm pretty sure you have the answer. So when you're living in a joint family system, I don't know if you can relate or not. Out of love, of course, a lot of people are there to spoil the kid. So if a mother or father has set, a certain set of rules, the elders are going to say, oh, no, you're not doing it right, let her play, let her do this, let her do that. So how do you tackle with them? I mean, since you are developing your child, but there are so many outside forces acting in them, how do you tackle with that?
I think those are the best childhood memories I've ever had, because, you know, I wasn't really living in a joint family system, but when it was my summer vacation, I would go to my grandfather's place. They'll spoil me, my mother would call me, or, you know, come back. And I would be like, no, I'm not coming back. Chachu saying, stay over here. So, you know, I think that these are the problems in between those elderly people. The kid is actually enjoying his or her life.
Totally.
Well, a joint family system has its disadvantages and advantages as well. As I said, unfortunately, in Pakistan, well, this is the wisdom, which is the indigenous wisdom. We should be building on that. The information which the child gets from his dadi, nani, dada, nana, or chachu, chachi, or whoever is in the family, I mean, it all has an impact on the child's development. So for that, there is not just one right answer. You have to really build on the experiences, and you should be you should be educating the parents about what science says about early childhood. The science of early childhood is very, very critical. And once the parents are aware of it, then they will be in a better position to basically educate Dada, Dadi, Nana, Nani.
Yes.
And you know, in our centers, in Rupani Foundation, which has basically developed a very unique model.
Okay.
It has developed educational packages for all these family members. So, in those centers, Nana, Nani, Dada, Dadi come with the child to the center.
But do they actually?
And they play a
wow.
very critical role. They tell the stories in their own language, and we try to basically write them,
But don't
translate
you think
them in.
it's too late for Dada Dadis and Nana Nanis to actually go and
No,
attend
it's
those
never
classes?
late. It's
Okay.
never. They always learn, and they love.
And
they
they love
love
to
to
come,
come
yeah.
to
Really?
the
Okay.
centers with the
Sounds
kids.
good.
So we should really do not discourage this
Yes, of course.
joint family. We should be really capitalizing on the strengths of these joint
Okay,
family
Bob.
And I would
systems.
I would like to add something is that if you involve them actively,
Yeah.
for example, if you are a working woman and you are going out, rather just to say, okay, I'm worried about or more anxious about, involve their Dada, Dadi, Nana, Nani, that yes, you are playing the pivotal role
Right.
with me. So then let's have communicate
All
and set some rules
Okay.
which definitely will be favorable for the child.
We'll definitely come on to that, but there's one thing which Shafia said, and I noticed it, but this is why I wanted to come back, and this is, and you just said that, you know, out of necessity, there are parents who actually send their kids to the daycare centers. If it is out of necessity, what's the idea of those parents who are doing it?
Okay, that's a very concerning question, I must say.
Thank you.
Okay, you go on, then
It's all
I
right,
answer
go.
for that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, out of necessity, I said, because most of the mothers come to my daycare center and they relate that we are not able to run our house properly just because they are not good enough with the financial reasons.
Okay.
So for those to cover those financial things, they just put their child in a daycare center and they feel guilty.
Okay.
The idea to be a child care coach is to make them realize or to make them understand that this is the necessity. You don't have to get guilty. There are childcare centers who provide the services even better than parenthood, and and our center is a role model for that. And Ms. Khatija can quote that. I mean, she has seen the center, she knows that, and we educate those parents, and we even do the parent counseling. Women get into trauma when they leave their children in daycare center, and they're like, okay, we are paying that much, and our child is not being looked after, but actually it's just because of trauma, because they think they are away from them, and they are
They can't really trust
yes,
someone, right?
they don't trust. But what we have done for that reason, we have put the cameras, and we have an app. The parents can see their kids online.
Well, that's
over the
great.
mobile,
Yeah.
and that's what guarantees that whatever nannies we have, they're very trained staff. I train them by myself,
Okay.
and then teach them how to interact with the kids. And the nannies are not there for out of necessity. They love kids,
right,
and
right.
we pay them well so they can look after those kids well.
Okay, that's amazing. And before we move on towards the curriculum and the effective communication, there are a few things which, you know, a mother of a newly born are very worried about. And, you know, I read it from, you know, the profile you actually sent. So there's bedtime and sleep issues which I can relate to, that the kid is never asleep at night. You know, he or she is always up. Then schedule feeding and product recommendations. Let's talk about these three first.
Yeah, sure. Actually, what happens is I would like to talk about childcare coach first, and then relate these things into
Yes,
that.
of course.
Basically, in Pakistan, what I have noticed that there is no concept of childcare coaching. When we're relating to childcare coaching, most of the parents, most of the people say, oh, okay, are they talking about the children and how they're going to coach those little children?
Right.
No, it's not the term for the children. It's the term for the parents. One thing, and the second thing is parental trainings. If we are talking about all of the things, many of the new parents, they get upset with very tiny things. As for example, as you said, there are the sleeping problems, and then they really don't understand why their child is not going to bed. And they try to make their schedules, but they're unable to do that because they say that we are doing everything perfectly fine, but they actually don't understand what they are lacking and where they're lacking. So we basically guide them, we tell them how they can make schedules, even we make menus for them, for their kids, for healthy eating, as we do in our daycare center. We teach them, we educate them how not to give junk food. And how not to give junk food. And simply what I do, if the parents send junk food in the daycare center, I throw it in the bin and take a picture. And I tell them, okay, there is your food, and that's what you need to accept. We are not going to feed, or we give hot dinners from our school to that particular child, and we don't charge for that.
So, but do you allow paratha and anda?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
Yes, we do. We simply tell parent, if you are in a rush in the morning, simply pack it and give it to us. It's our responsibility to feed them, and we actually feed them.
Well, okay, that's great. But you know, I have to come back to the products as well.
Yeah.
So since when you're dealing with children especially, you have to be very sensitive about what you pick and choose.
True.
So the products that you're telling the people, the parents about, are you just promoting them, or have you actually tried and tested them?
That's a very good question.
Thank you.
Yeah, see?
Okay. You guys are coming up with very good questions, so I'm glad. I'm glad. So you are just learning it, and I'm just actually trying to brief it. If I'm talking about product recommendation, most of the parents, they just go after branding. And of course, there are brands and all kind of brands.
Yes.
But every time brand doesn't work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes if we are, I don't want to talk about any brand at the moment. Yeah, is that okay? Yeah. But most of the brands, I have noticed that if you look at the labeling, they don't say things on that. But if you research on those products, you come to know some of them say it causes cancer, some of them say it's harsh on kids, and all that. So it's actually tested in terms of, are they really harsh on kids because of the fragrances, because of the thing. And especially when you're talking about foods and nutrition and health care, what happens is parents bring all the trusted brands food into daycare center, the jar form, which I absolutely not recommend. I am just saying it on national television. There are some things, and I don't want to discuss further, but that's how the product recommendations work, because we feed the kids those products, and we feed the kids those food and all that, and we come to know that what problems are going on. And then actually out of our experiences, out of our understandings, out of the results, we recommend parents what product to use, what not to use. There is no brand ambassador.
Okay, that's
great. But you know, before we move on towards break, I want to move on to Miss Amara over here. So now, Miss Amara, what happens is that, you know, in the early years, for example, when the kid's 2, beyond, and then, you know, moving up, what happens is that parents, just to feed the kid, they have to lie to the kid a lot of times. Oh, you know, look, an airplane is coming, and what's coming, and
playful
whatnot.
techniques
and then there's attention deficit and whatnot. How do you think that the parents can effectively communicate with the child who's too young?
Yes, these are, you know, what we are practicing in home, at home. But after all, if we talk with the child about the consequences, are real in a very, very small, in a, you know, in a
for
very
example,
interesting way, that if you are not it, what would happen? So, you know, later on 1 or 2 or 3 times, then a child would relate, okay, see, I didn't have that lunch, now I feel clumsy, or I feel weak. So this is the real knowledge you are passing, you are giving to a child, rather that these, oh no, we cannot say that those things are not good at all. Yes, but because there is no hard and fast rule when you are dealing with a child. So it is often you see the situation, you see what your child wants at that moment, whether it is right or wrong, and you then amend those things.
Okay, that's great. But before we, yes,
I would like to add up.
Yes,
I would also.
Okay,
yeah.
go ahead.
The thing is, if you're talking about the child's particular routines, you're talking about the child doesn't take food until or unless some gadget is present.
Yes.
That's the today's
that
trauma,
happens, yes.
Right. But how we practice in our centers is very simple. I can relate one story that I went to my GP in UK, and my son was hardly 3 years old that time.
Okay.
And I had just a question to my GP. Since you are a mother and you become very, you know, particular about things, and I asked, my child doesn't take anything, I need to force him to eat. And you know what she replied? She replied, he's not gonna die. Let him be for 1 day.
Exactly.
And then I said, are you sure? And she said, I'm 100% sure. Go home and practice it. And that's what I did. For that one day, I did not feed him any single thing.
I think you're
and
the only mother who actually did that too.
And now I'm coming back to the point why I'm relating this, because we are practicing this in our daycare center. And what I did the same thing what my GP told me. And then the very next morning, I was very upset, but I just controlled it. And the very next morning, my son said, Mama, I want to eat some paratha.
So you achieved.
I achieved. The problem here in centers are, they keep telling us why this food is left, why my child didn't eat. And I just simply tell them, either you cooperate with me, or either you feed it by yourself, because it's really hard to force the kids, because we have plenty of kids.
Exactly.
And then the parents, I'm very much happy that they listen.
I'm sorry that we're cutting you short. We definitely have to rush towards a small break. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere, because when you guys are going to come back, for all those mothers and fathers who are out there who are expecting a baby, or they already have a baby and they have some issues, that's what we're talking about. Don't go anywhere, because babies are life. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome back to World This Morning. It's a beautiful day outside. We are having a great show since we are in conversation with some experts from childcare coaching. And we are talking about the trends of, childcare centers and coaching. And since Shahzad is a parent himself, both of us are actually having a lot of fun discussing this. And we're learning a lot of things.
We were talking about moving back to Shafia, where you were in the middle of something. Go ahead, tell us.
Actually, we were talking about the health, and we were talking about the why children don't eat their food. So actually, Hatija wanted to add something into it first.
Please go ahead.
Why children don't eat, or why children don't sleep in time, or all these, you have to basically, right from the beginning, the parents have to set a pattern for their children. And the parents are the best examples. They are the role models for their kids. Kids learn from their parents. So whatever you will do, your kid will learn, your kid will follow right from the beginning. Even if the kid is 1 month old, still he or she will listen to what you are saying, or he will see what you are doing. So you have to basically train the child right from the beginning.
Right.
You should not wait like when the child is 5 years old or 6 years old, I will start doing early childhood development. No, you have to do it right from the beginning, and you should be properly giving a pattern, behavior management for your.
That's the most difficult part. Imagine you're telling your kid who's just 1 year old,
should not
and in response, the only thing you're getting is goo goo guy.
No. You should not tell. You should do.
How?
Actions speak louder than words. So you should practice whatever you are expecting from your child. For example, you should make the child sit on the table where you eat in his own or in her own chair, and give whatever food you have prepared for him. And I agree with both Shafia and Humaira that you do not really need to force the child all the time. You have to just let the child to decide, but you need to really give him or her that
clear
space
instructions
and that pattern. You have to manage their behavior. And for that, you have to first, you need to be the role models.
Okay, just one simple advice for me and for all those parents who are out there, and that is that, you know, the way I have actually nurtured my kid, or I've been telling her to do things, is the way how I grew up. So nobody stopped me from doing anything, whatever I was doing as a kid, whether it was poking things or whatever it was. Do you think that this is the right approach, where you just do not stop?
There should be limits, and you should
I mean, for example, if it was a hot cup of tea, and you know she kept on crawling and she tried to touch it, I just got her finger, dipped it inside once, and you know that's it. She never went closer to any hot thing again. So
no, there should be limits.
Please focus on her face. Miss Khadija's expression is priceless.
You should be knowing your limits. So and it's the parents. I mean your children.
It was just a microsecond.
I will say that there is no hard and fast rule. Yes, you should be well aware about what the current situation and the techniques of you have to abreast yourself. Second is one is direct learning, what Ma'am Khatija was talking about, and one is indirect learning. We people most of the time more focus on direct learning, which is related to schools or the formal education, but we ignore indirect learning. Indirect learning means a lot. Like what is going on, what is the culture of your house, what is the whole scenario you are living 24/7. That has a strong impact indirectly in first 5 years, because that first 5 years are what your child has to suffer or take the advantage throughout of his life.
Okay, that's good. You know, just towards the end, there's one simple question for all of you, and that is that, you know, I believe that all of you are mothers, first things first, you know, I don't want to get it wrong. And then have any one of you been to a child coaching center yourself?
Yes.
When you were about to be mothers?
Yes.
You did?
Yes, I.
You did too as well?
Yeah, me
in
too.
early child.
Okay.
You know what, when I was pregnant with my first child, I used to consult a doctor at Shifa Hospital, Dr. Yasmin. I would really like to mention her name on the show. She educated me. She asked me to read about brain development, child psychology, science of early childhood development, and what kind of food should I be taking, and when should I take folic acid and all that. I mean, there is wealth of knowledge which a mother should know, which parents should know, that it's needed for your child's brain development. And if you miss all those important, you see, milestones when the baby is in your womb, then I mean, you are really not doing a favor to your child. So our doctors, especially our gynecologists, I really love my doctor, though I haven't met her after that, but she really educated me. And after that, I read, and still I am reading, because now I am in the field for the last many years, so I read a lot. There is wealth of knowledge out there. There is so much research happening every day, and my job, as Shafia knows, I am trying to basically educate the society in Pakistan, and I try to provide them forums.
And this is what we are doing over here. You know, we're making sure that the word goes out.
This is a beginning for me, and I hope you will invite me.
As well. We'll keep on having you guys back
I hope
too
you
as
will
well.
invite me again, because I have to share a lot.
Inshallah, we will.
We cannot confine it only for the early years. Even I went, when I was talking about, what I was talking about is for my teenagers. Because, you know, throughout my life, I was there in early years. So when my children, they grew, I felt that I had to go and take some experts.
Amazing mothers over here. Anything?
I wanted to come back to the point where Khatija was talking about, and you put a question. That's a very good question. The very clear message I want to give to the parents today, that every time it's not the doctor.
Thank you very much for being with us. It was lovely to have you on the show, and we'll definitely call you back again, because there's so much we have left out on. But there's one thing, ladies and gentlemen, and that's not about the kid. I think it's about the gynecologists who are out there. And I know that the gynecologist will always put in the hard work, and you know, she'll actually call the husband in at times as well, scold her that this is what you need to do. But there's one thing which I do not understand, and that is that for the 6 or 7 months which we have been to the doctor and everything's fine, the delivery is going to be normal, I don't know what happens on the last night that, you know, the nurse comes running and says, oh, you know, there's a problem, we have to operate. And what do you think that any normal, ordinary human being can do in that place without saying, okay, operate, if their child's life is at stake? Please stop doing that. Please stop these malpractices. I'm not saying that every gynecologist out there does that, but please don't do that. People are simple and people are modest. Don't take advantage of their modesty.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say?
Yeah, since I've been a part of this conversation,
I just got a bit serious.
No, no, I just feel like this is such a big task, parenting, you know, and I just want to say that I'm really proud of my sister. She's literally my age, and she has a daughter who's about 3 years old, and she's parenting her, she's taking her to school, she's taking her to playgrounds and everything, and she's doing a great job, and keep doing this. And we will have a similar show again in the future.
So for all the sisters and mothers out there, you guys are doing a great job. Even the fathers, the dadas, the daddis, the nanas, the nannies, everybody.
Yes, fathers.
But do not forget to write to us on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of
Well This Morning.
On Twitter.
Well This Morning without a G.
On Daily Motion and YouTube.
Well This Morning.
And this fabulous repeat is going to be at
11 in the night.
Till the next time, 1, 2, 3.
Good
morning.
morning.
Thank you.